follow. Want my love, baby, earn it. Yeah, dancing on my own. See if you can follow. Got me feeling alive. Watch me go, lose control. Is this real? All I feel. Break the signs. Every time let's be real, be real, be real. I do what I want. 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 Hear me now. I do what I want. Are you ready now? 'Cause it won't be easy. Only get what you work for. Gotta go all out whenever you see me. Don't be wasting my time. Watch me go, lose control. Is this real? All I feel. Break the signs. Every time let's be real, be real, be real. I do what I want. 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 Hear me now. Watch me go, lose control. Is this real? All I feel. Break the signs. Every time let's be real, be real, be real. I do what I want. I do what I want.
Good morning. What's new, pussycat?
Hey, pussycats, how are you? I'm sitting here reading my little Dolly Parton book I forgot all about. Hold on. Oh, I like this one. Okay. I was going to do the word, and then I thought, you know what? I didn't look at the words ahead of time, and I try and pick one that's, somewhat relevant to what I'm going to talk about. What the hell did I do? Hold, please. Okay, sorry. I hit, oh my God. Have y'all ever hit that little, it's usually down in the bottom corner, and it's where all the code for what's on your screen is contained. Oh my God. That if you've never accidentally hit that before, oh my gosh, it'll have you wondering, like, what the hell happened? Where am I? What is this shit? I don't speak this language. I love this. Perfume is the unseen, unforgettable, ultimate accessory of fashion. It heralds your arrival and prolongs your departure. Yes, a woman after my own heart. Oh, wait a minute. That was Chanel. Oh, damn. I've got these two books stacked on top of each other. Two legends, each for, different things. I was looking at this one, but reading out of this one, thinking I was reading out of this one. So now let's find a Dolly quote. I think it's only fair, especially since I thought that's what I was reading in the first damn place. All right. How about just random? We'll just do random. Now, I'm going to pick whether it's the left side or the right side of the page because there's two different quotes. No, I don't know about that one. This may be prescient, which was one of the words I was contemplating. Oh my gosh. Y'all be on org patrol, okay? Because this is, of course, you're not in my head, unfortunately. Well, sometimes quite fortunately, but I swear to you, on this little piece of paper was the word prescient. Now I guess we're going to have to do it. I didn't think it was going to be, super relative, but when I read this quote, I couldn't have picked a better one. The magic with me is that I look completely false when I'm completely real. I love that. And that was Dolly reflecting on her looks and personality in an interview with The Guardian. Oh my goodness. Wonder if that's a little harbinger of things to come. Whoops. Oh God, there goes that button again. What the hell did I just do? Okay, no harm, no foul. We're all still here. So how's everybody doing? Hold on, I gotta get my little setup back to the way it was, or I'll be very bothered. Okay, I like things the way I like things. There we go, perfect like me. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody's perfect. So y'all, I have been every day watching the Jennifer Crumbley trial. And I do believe I just heard, and for anyone who's not aware, Jennifer Crumbley is the mother of the Michigan school shooter. And as I thought in the last live, at that time I hadn't read anything or seen anything about why in the courtroom, when speaking of the school shooter, they do not call him by name. But my thinking out loud guess was exactly what it is. That and I love it, and I hope. I mean, I hope nothing like this ever happens again. Quite unfortunately, I'm not going to get that wish come true. But I think that when anything like this happens with some evil, mentally ill, throw in whatever adjective or verb, noun you like. As the prosecutor said, these people do this in large part because they want the attention. So fuck them, don't give it to them. So I am also going to only refer to him as the school shooter. But just not 15 minutes ago, the defense attorney Shannon Smith was arguing with Mark Keast, one of the prosecutors, regarding some, she can't make up her mind. It's like she wants things. There was many motions that were ruled on before they ever got to court. There's motions in limine while they're in court, and things that she apparently fought very hard to have excluded because she, argued that they were far more prejudicial than probative. And the judge agreed, and many things were excluded, like the evil bastard's journal, where if the dumb bitch that is his mom had ever walked in his room and, kind of, oh God, what the hell is that? Sorry, much better. I don't need full screen, thank you. If she'd ever walked in, y'all, I didn't realize that house that they were all living in, mom, dad, shooter, 900 square feet. That is a very small home. For three people to two of whom are claiming we had no idea. Like, bullshit. All you had to do is listen. The mother said herself in what I believe was a text message, and then there was people who actually testified to this. She herself said he was, I believe she said, a weirdo. All you have to do is look at him. He doesn't look like he's, necessarily playing with full deck. So this journal that was in his room, along with, heads of birds and, oh God. Well, apparently the judge said, listen, ma'am, because what Shannon Smith is wanting to do is take previous rulings about, this does not come in. Well, now she's kind of changed her mind about, I just want to bring in, this much to impeach this detective's earlier testimony. Well, the prosecutor naturally jumps up and says, wait a minute. Much like she did yesterday with the extramarital affair that was not going to come in, but she opened the door. And I agree with the prosecutor. This is a strategy she's using. But what is contained in that sick bastard's journal is at issue now. Little pieces she wants to pull out to impeach. And the judge said, listen, this journal is highly disturbing. And any of us who have, she said, the last time I read it, I didn't sleep that night. So they're arguing about, little portions of this that she would like to come in. Of course, only the things that are most helpful to her client. And prosecutor says, hey, if that's what you're going to do, well, then it's all coming in, baby. That's what we're going to ask for. And I mean, the judge looked at her and said, no, I'm not going to allow it, because what is contained in this journal is so disturbing that it will undoubtedly harm your client. And I heard Shannon Smith say something I have never heard a defense attorney say. And it wasn't right. I'm inserting it here. That's not where it took place in this whole, sidebar. She said, because apparently old Ethan, well, I guess he feels some type of way about mom, and will not testify in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Of course, he has an appeal, and his attorneys have said, no, you can drag him in here, but he's going to immediately plead the fifth. I did not realize, I don't know if it's like this everywhere or just in Michigan, but that judge said, I am not allowed to put any defendant on the stand knowing that they are going to plead the fifth. So as this arguing is going back and forth, Shannon Smith says the following. Well, Your Honor, I'm slightly paraphrasing, but not the good part. Your Honor, I don't think he should be able, wait for it, a criminal defense attorney. I don't think he should be able to plead the fifth. I was like, what? Never in all the years I have watched trials, never, ever have I heard a defense attorney say that. So, okay, but I know that's not what we're here for. But over the weekend, we're gonna do like a recap of this week's events in the Jennifer Crumbley manslaughter case. Do you guys like my new eye makeup? I mixed it up a little bit. I think I've told y'all in the past, I have very green eyes, and pinks and purples make green eyes pop. I'm just not usually, I don't wear a lot of, pink colors, but I had to go to the dreaded Ulta and do a return. And of course, I still ended up giving them $35 after I got my credit. And naturally, they were out of, almost everything I wanted, which I then turned around and just bought on Amazon. But I thought, you know what? I wanted to try some of those Juvia's Place couple palettes that were in the pink family. Not that I don't have, I mean, I quite literally probably have enough makeup palettes that, much like they use at Home Depot, a forklift to lift said pallets. Yeah, I could probably use one of those. But yeah, so I thought I'm gonna switch it up a little. But I know a lot of you guys want a makeup episode, and I think we will do that this weekend. All right. So let me say hi to kids in class, and then we're gonna get right to this. And what is this? This is, I've got it all queued up. Let me see the date. 12 days ago. 12 days ago, I saw this video by Cinema Shogun, and I was quite literally on my couch going, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, that, all of that. So I'm gonna do watch and react. Oh, and you know what? I know there's another court case going on. Now, it may not be getting national news play, but it is, it's quite important to many, many of us here in Crumma. And despite the fact that I am no longer drowning in all of the Crumma drama. Oh, I love that Crumma drama. Save the Crumma drama for your mama. But that's because I just cannot be so immersed in so much, animosity, but that's a me problem. That doesn't mean I have changed my opinion on any of the lawsuits between Queen Bee and Bullshit Betty. And I may or may not have sent a text message to one of the parties, and I'm sure you can figure out which one it would be. Where I said, well, my God, I finally have made an appearance in the lawsuit. Bitch, as usual, your timing is shit. And I did consider, because I said when I made my acceptance speech for, exiting stage left in all the Crumma drama, I said at that time, listen, I'm still going to cover the lawsuit. But I was told by a few people who have slogged through the latest 53, 54 pages, who themselves have legal background. The consensus was pretty much, oh God, I wouldn't. You've probably already lost enough of your life and brain cells. Not as many trees have been killed in the world over that lawsuit. And basically they said it's just a bunch of fucking nonsensical rambling. Someone put it brilliantly when they said it's basically a 53-page community post. I said, and this is, here you go. Here's your Crimes in Fashion weighing in 2 cents on the latest. I don't know what do we think it is? Probably 2 inches printed out. I said, if it were me, much like Shannon Smith, the real lawyer, has a strategy. Of course, her strategy is based on, much as I can't stand the bitch, she is in fact a real lawyer. She does not appear to be deficient in the IQ department. If it was me, because it's a strategy, okay? Kind of like, what is that old expression? Just if you can't, well, there's a few. If you can't dazzle them with your brilliance, bury them in bullshit, or just throw it all at the wall and see what sticks. Well, that's the strategy, because God knows there's no legal fucking anything rattling around up there. I personally think that the judge has let this go on far too long. But this is also what I said to one of the people I was talking to. I said, judges very rarely do a sua sponte ruling. The motions, that's the ask. That's judge. Give us, make them do this, make them stop this, do that. This ain't rocket science. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's legal rocket science. But like, you don't just pull the shit out of your ass and throw it at the, well, unless you're Betty. The playbook for how this is supposed to work, well, that's called the Rules of Civil Procedure. And it contains it's the playbook. It lays it all out. All the time constraints are there. Here's what happens if you don't comply with this time frame. I mean, it's all there. There's everything you could imagine is there. There's very little that is not accounted for. If it was me and I was paying an attorney and dealing with, I don't even know what to say about her. I mean, it's a temper tantrum. And she apparently thinks she can litigate her way out of people hating her. Well, I'm pretty sure it's doing the opposite thing. But anyway. I would tell my lawyer, because my understanding is there was supposed to be an answer to, who knows? I haven't been keeping up with it, okay? But I do know that answers should have been filed. There's several things that should have happened that they're not happening. And much like she lives her life, it's just, well, I'm Betty and I do what I want. And I'm good enough and people like me. Or I mean, people hate my guts. Yeah, I would, if it was me, I would tell my lawyer, listen, it is so obvious, it is so crystal clear to, or it should be, to everyone what is going on here. She is trying to bankrupt me into capitulation. That's what's happening. So I would tell my lawyer, do whatever the fuck you have to do. If you have to file motions for contempt, file them. Sanctions. Ask. I mean, there are remedies for this shit, believe me, okay? And she has some leeway because she's pro se, but what she doesn't have is the right to circumvent all the rules because she's Betty. That's not how it works. So I don't know why the lawyer hasn't. I do believe the way I put it was drop the legal nuclear bomb on her. And I would ask for contempt, sanctions, the whole 9 yards. Anything within that book, because see, there's only one person in that courtroom who doesn't know jack shit about the law and is not a legal professional. And that is why so much of this is going on and on like this. It you know, you get grimy lawyers. There's always, you know, fuckery that goes on, but not like this. Not like this. No. So, you know, my thinking out loud was, you know, the only thing I can come up with as to why this just keeps going on and on and on and on, and it's being allowed to go on and on and on and on, is to show a very clear pattern. I don't know, but I wish Queen Bee the best in it. I absolutely hope she prevails. But you know, Betty's a miserable bitch. This is all she's got in her life, is suing people and going to government meetings. Shit that the rest of us would do anything in the world not to do. Yeah, you know how I do my civic duty? I vote and I pay taxes. That's it for me. Unless I get an eminent domain notice that they're going to steamroll my house. Yeah, I'm not going to any. No podiums for me. No, I got my podium right here. Okay. So, off to I'm going to say hi really quick, y'all, and I'm really going to run because I don't want to I know y'all are here to presumably to hear what I've got to say about this video. So, well, look, we have first in the door is Generally Jenny, Cinema Blowgun. I'm taking it you're not a fan. And welcome. I don't think I've seen you before. I don't know if you're still here. But okay, so I guess I don't know. I mean, I've known of Cinema Shogun for quite a while. I have not started watching him until, of late. And that's just because, I've been very immersed in all the very important business of Krama and, kind of got away from, he talks a lot about celebrity, pop culture, etc. So, of course, as someone who hasn't watched him a whole lot, he seems like a nice enough guy. But this is YouTube, and people I think will find, we all have people we don't like or can't stand, whatever. And oftentimes it's not even based on. I mean, I know I've said before, there's been people who like, oh, I can't stand their voice, but they didn't do anything to me personally. So I get it. We all have, things that irritate us about people. But I really have no, I can't think of any reason that he would have a lot of pushback, I guess is. Well, he covers true crime too. So yeah, okay, I get it. I mean, I can see where there could be, because at first I'm thinking, well, shit, like what's wrong? Like, big Britney Spears fan? I don't but I get it. To each his own. Hey, SoFlo, how you doing? Hi, Glenda. Lori, how are you? Oh, look, Joe Biden Sniff is here. Joe Biden Sniff, do you by any chance go by another name like, I don't know, rapper, maybe? I see you're behaving today, though, so that's good. I'm glad to see that. Rapper, my goodness, you've been getting around lately, haven't you? I've heard a few people. Let's just say, what was that I was saying about patterns? Hey, Pink Stripe, how are you? Lindsay Cummins, how are you? Hey, Kathy P. Oh, redacting. Are you now the redacting queen? May the force and the Sharpie be with you. I don't know how you do yours. I liked paper. Hey, Be Still, how are you? True Jedi Forever. How are you? Oh, SoFlo, Publix. I have to go to Publix when I leave here. Crazy Nurse in the house. Hey, World Peas. I haven't seen you in a while. How are you? I always love your name. Very, very clever. Hey, Dee, how are you? Ange Carter, how you doing? Heather B. Beachy, how are you? Oh my God, it is. It's February 1st. Happy February. Valentine's Day and Easter are my all-time favorite decorating. Well, I like Halloween a lot too, but these are the pastel holidays. I found the cutest pillow at Home Goods. It's like, I don't think needlepoint is the correct, it's knit, and it's that big like looped knit yarn, and it's a tic-tac-toe. It's pink and then white tic-tac-toe board, but instead of O's, it has hearts, and it's so cute. And my Home Goods had one. I sent my sister-in-law to her Home Goods, none. Looked online, none. So now I'm on a mission. Of course, I haven't checked Amazon, which something tells me I might be able to find them there. But they're so cute. I would keep them out year round on my couch because they go. I like whimsical, quirky things, and I don't have a house done like that. That's what my office is for. But those are cute enough. And they mix well enough that I would keep them out year round. Hey, Nonsense, how are you? Oh, thank you, World Peace. That's very sweet. I appreciate that. Hey, Chris Kress, how are you? Hi, Glory. How you doing? Oh my God. Do you want to smack Shannon Smith? I do. Oh my God, she pisses me off so much. I have to say, I think she's a very good advocate for her client. And let's face it, she doesn't have a lot to work with. But I find her to be I find her to be pretty unprofessional at times. Repeatedly crying in the courtroom. I get it. It's horrific. It's god awful. But that's not appropriate. And it's not just a one and done. She's cried several times. This morning, y'all, as they have the lead detective on the stand, and they are showing the surveillance footage inside Oxford High School where 4 kids lost their lives. And Jennifer Crumbly, head down at the defense table. She's going through the motions, and she probably is quite upset. But her lawyer sitting next to her, who's also, doing one of these, dabbing her eyes, not appropriate. But even more than that, what I found so and disrespectful to the victims' families who are in the court, many of them. her client is to her left, and she's got her hand on her back, and she's doing this, and at one point she actually starts to play with her hair. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? And of course, I'm on my couch screaming, make that bitch watch. Make her look. And I think they should. I think she should have to see what, in my opinion, her shitty, neglectful, non-parenting caused, in part. And who knows? Who knows what she really knew about her kid? Maybe she did. Listen, she was not a good mother. She wasn't. She was more worried about banging her boyfriend, during working hours. Boy, oh, that kind of worked against her when it was, oh, well, she couldn't take her son home from school that day when the office called and said, your kid needs to be seen by a mental health professional. Oh, I've got to get back to work. I can't take him with me. Oh, gosh. It didn't age well yesterday, and it was not a good look when her former lover, was on the stand and said, oh, yeah, we'd meet in the parking lot across the street from work whenever she wanted. She had no trouble leaving her job. So, but yeah, that was too much. I mean, not that we've never seen that before in court. We have. I remember the Menendez brothers, Leslie Abramson. She very much, I don't want to say coddled, but she was very motherly towards them. And when particularly difficult testimony was happening, she would, she'd do one of those. But this is, no. I mean, honest to God, Jennifer Crumbly, hair only slightly better than Betty's. And, she has about 12 more strands than Betty. As she's, rubbing her back and patting her, honest to God, she took and she caught herself because she had a piece of her hair and she started doing one of these. What in the fuck are you doing, ma'am? Is this actually like you're going to braid it now? This is the live literal version of braiding each other's hair. Oh, that's right. She can't braid your hair because she's shackled. No, she's not while she's sitting. No, every time they do it every time. What's the difference between shackled and manacled? Is it the same word, or is one your ankles and one your wrists? That's a good question. Hey, Becca, how are you? Brittany, girl, I'm with you. It's just rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And yeah, I mean, hey, the good Tiffany, how are you? Kelly under chandeliers, girl, I haven't seen you in an age. How are you? Yeah, I find, oh my God, in those highlights. Oh, one other thing about old Shannon. Shannon, this is just a friendly piece of advice from me to you, hon. I know you're a trophy wife and whatnot, but maybe don't wear your Real Housewives of Detroit miniskirts to court. Now, when she's standing, and listen, she's got a great figure. Her hair needs some work, and I'm actually thinking that she might have some weave in there, possibly some kind of a clip-on, because I keep noticing there's one spot that when the camera hits it the right way, it's very like, it's hard to explain. It's almost like it's knotted. but only in like a very small area. And as someone, I have cowlicks, and I have one here. I had a girlfriend that used to make her crazy. For years, she would do this. She'd come over and she'd put her hand in my hair and she'd go, "You got a hole in the back." I'm like, "Girl, it's a cowlick." So I know what a cowlick looks like, and I don't think that's what it is. I think she might have some clip-in pieces in her hair, but she's got a great figure, nice legs, which apparently she really wants to show off. But Shannon, girl, you're getting ready to have a Sharon Stone moment. Yeah, a little Basic Instinct moment. Yesterday, when she was wearing the orange outfit. Now, when she stands up, and if she doesn't like slow her roll, she gets in everybody's personal space. I cannot stand it. And she's got this, she's always pointing. And as she's pointing, she's going to be in fucking Marquis' lap before this thing is over. Mark my words. But as she shimmies herself back to her seat, I noticed that, and Shannon, for God, for the love of God, stop with the fucking monotone everything. Okay? You are not Hillary Clinton. Not yet. You got time, girl. You're 60s, maybe 70s. That's the time for the monotone everything. Chairman Mao pantsuits, okay? Break it up a little. You did it the other day. Very good. Well, I'm very happy that you took your burnt orange skirt suit. I was very happy to see that you put a print under there to break up. Shannon, are you listening to me, girl? If you are, I'll send you my bill. But they're a little too short, sweetie. Because when you sat down, and she's got nice legs, and she knows she has nice legs, because you'll notice when she sits down to, or furiously scribble on her legal pad during testimony, she sits side saddle. Shannon, you're not on a horse in Victorian times, okay? Back when we made women sit side saddle on the horse, because my God, if you got married and your lady parts were not intact, because they believed that, and it is true, some very vigorous sitting exercise that might involve the lady parts, oh God, that would be reason for death. Your husband could return you and you'd be a fallen woman. So I understand you've got nice legs, but so honey, go to happy hour with your husband and show him off. I kid you not, when she was sitting side saddle, the camera, it was that close. When she went to either get up or cross the legs again, I was like, oh my God, she like, girl, I hope you got panties on. Oh wait, no, she has little pantyhose. Oh God, girl, get rid of those things. I mean, I know it's cold there, but wear opaque tights. I don't know, but like sheer oyster colored pantyhose. No reason for that. Anyway, carrying on. Yes, she needs to just a little longer on the skirts, because they look appropriate. They're not overly short when she's standing and arguing, but when she sits, they're too short. I mean, they are way too short. And I am not afraid of skin. Okay, so if I say they're too short, they're too short. Time and place, Shannon. Time and place. Hi, Camry. How are you? Yeah, well, she was too busy riding horses and getting laid, and I don't know who knows what the hell Dad was doing, delivering DoorDash all over Michigan. Yeah, 900 square feet is, I was surprised. I mean, I knew they didn't live in a real large house, but 900, and I know because I used to live when my son was, the house he grew up in was about 1100 square feet. And that was a very old home, 1923. Construction back then, like there was no hammering into my walls. You had to drill. Things aren't like that now. So 3 people and 900 square feet, it would be very difficult to keep a lot of secrets. Oh, Brittany, I did see that there was an email in my inbox. I just haven't opened it yet so that I didn't, open it and then forget. When I am done today, I'm going to look at that. Hey, Truth Seeker. Ooh, yes. Are they doing like a lottery? What's interesting is the courtroom to me does not look like it is packed, but my understanding is it is. So oh yeah, Shannon gets on my last nerve. Okay. And I don't mean that because of the arguing. It's not that. She does these exaggerated sighs when something doesn't go her way. And I'm telling you I have seen attorneys who have gotten not nearly as close to the opposing counsel's table admonished by the judge. Like, please stop wandering all over the courtroom. Yeah, she's a trip. That's one word for her. Glenda, I agree. She is a fruitcake. Hey, Laura, how are you? Hey, Mama Bear, how you doing? Hi, Zen, how are you? Hey, Hippie, how are you? It's nice to see you. Okie Crime News, how are you? Hey, VK, sir, how are you? All right, we're almost there. Hey, T-Berry. That's that quote. Yeah, the judge would not consider that an emergency. But I stand on everything I said as far as what I would insist. Put it this way. The client is the one paying the bill, okay? The client, I would be the kind of client saying, do it, go nuclear. And they would have to work pretty hard to dissuade me from that and explain to me why it isn't appropriate. But yeah, that would not be considered an emergency by a judge, unfortunately. Hey, Stitching, Bitching, and True Crime, how are you? Hey, Runs with Scissors. Oh, good. I'm glad. Of course, can't get blood from a stone, but I wouldn't care. Hey, True Texan, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? Of course, I haven't been in here as much as usual. Honestly, it's really oh yes, that was something I wanted to mention. Nonsense made a cute video. I'm sure it was a short. When I saw it, I texted her and someone else and I said, That bitch looks like a ghetto pink garden gnome. What the fuck is she thinking? Daddy, here's a piece of free advice from me to you. And like, look at me and look at you. Obviously, I know what I'm talking about. Betty, you're too old, pumpkin, to be rocking a well. And I wouldn't say that to just anybody. I wouldn't say across the board you're too old to be rocking a hat with a volleyball sized puff on the top. Because pumpkin, it makes you look like a garden gnome. Throw that out. Go, Betty, go get a big girl like a. Oh, I should have brought mine in here. I have a really cute like beanie that I got in Anthropologie years ago. And in the back, it's got a really pretty braided pink satin ribbon. And it's just like a nice blush pink, not oh, you just had a baby pink. Yeah, like that. No, that's not for you. Think more like the color of my lipstick. Yeah. No. Too much going on. No, not good. Not no, not a good look. Okay. Oh, thank you. SoFlo put cinema. Oh, Jenny is here. Generally Jenny. What's it say? Cinema Shogun is transphobic trash. Well, I have, hey Heels, how are you? I have only ever listened to a few of his celebrity things. I have not heard anything like that. And what I'm going to play, I certainly didn't hear anything like that. And I am not that. I don't know if you watch me or if you just find yourself here because of the title, but in the event that you've never watched before, I'm a live and let live person. I don't give a shit what anybody does in their bedroom, in their life. If it's not hurting me or my loved ones, I don't care. Runaway Truth. BHB says QB Marshall. I mean, in my opinion, it is certainly this attorney. He's very smart. I think he definitely has a good enough handle on her by now that he must know how very dangerous it is to let this behavior carry on unchecked. That's my yeah, that's all I can say. And if I was the client, I would absolutely be, hey Nikki O'Shea, how are you? I mean, I don't think y'all know what kind of client I'd be. But you got to remember, I have a little more, I have legal background. So I understand more than, certainly not as much as a lawyer and not as much as a jailhouse lawyer like Betty. But I do understand procedurally how these things work. And I also understand how very slowly and the process moves and why it is so slow. And that's because motion, answer, order, amended motion, answer to amended motion. It just goes on and on and on. And I mean, at this point, it's like motion, how many times 87,000, and then we got the non-response. But like I said, the playbook is the rules of civil procedure for the state of Michigan. The procedure and the remedies for those who do not follow the procedure and conduct themselves within the constraints statutorily laid out, well, the remedies are there as well. But, you know, the judge has got a whole bunch of shit on his desk. This is not his, he's not like reading this every night going, oh, well, oh my God, well, what? That's not right. No, you need to ask the judge for what you want. That's how it works. And she's, you know, she's doing what's always worked for her, which is whatever the fuck she wants. And they're not checking her. Fortunately, I mean, she does know what she's doing in that respect, okay? She knows that the only hope she has is bankrupting QB and her supporters. And she is, well, I'm not going to use that word. She knows that 53 pages, he's got to read it, okay? He's got to read it. He's got to write notes. He's got to figure out what to respond to, how to respond to it. I have absolutely no trouble believing that for him to respond to a 53-page, whatever the fuck she's calling it, I haven't read it. I'm not going to read it. I don't know how much he costs an hour, but I think I have speculated before that I would say every bit of $350 is reasonable, and maybe in excess of that. Well, 53 pages. I could see a couple hours just reading it. Then you got to give you've got to respond. I mean, one motion like that, thousands. So, and that is her strategy. What else does she have? Hi, Gina Marie. How are you? Hey, Revival. How you doing? Hey, Beer Can. Skyfall. That's you. Oh, I hope you're feeling better. Hey, Lazaro. How you doing? Okay. Hey, Spudler. All right. I think I got everybody. Oh, wait, what? Oh, that was... I saw Garden Gnome, and I'm like, oh, that's how far behind I am. I'm like, oh, somebody's named Garden Gnome. That's a new name. Oh, God, I think I just snorted. SW True Crime. Hi, how are you? That's a new name, I think. Welcome. Hey, Literally Davis fam, how are you? You have a good day too. Oh my God, that does, wait, tell me that doesn't say Tuesday. Thursday, okay. I was just making sure. I'm like, oh God, hell, please don't tell me I lost 2 days. Hey, Erie Sunset, how are you? Okay, let's go. Oh, as for my outfit today, I am wearing a Theory cashmere turtleneck with my vintage Abercrombie and Fitch jeans that I love so much, and these Prada booty. It's like, what are those? They're heels. They're not really a booty. They're a slingback heel. That's all they are. They're just slingback heels. Peep toe slingback heels. Okay. All right. Let's get this shit show started. It's queued up, ready to go. All righty. Damn it. Come on. There we go. Oh, I can't full screen it until I present it. I know we have Cinema Shogun's link in the chat. All right, let's full screen this. Okay, you guys, I'm going to be over in the other window because I've got to be to stop it, and I don't have the chat on my phone. It just ends up making it take longer. Hey, Sherlock, homie, how are you?
Good here, and I think today is the perfect day to have a little conversation. I saw a
Perfect.
couple of comments on one of my videos that I put out today about Britney Spears, and I felt like this provided us a perfect opportunity to have this discussion. Don't get me wrong, I'm not angered or triggered by the comments at all. I'm not angry at the person or the people who left the comments, and I even understand where they're coming from. I just felt like this provided a great opportunity.
Before we go any further, there are I think there's a couple new names here. So just for the benefit of anybody who's not ever, listened before, I'm old. I'm 53 and I am not woke. Okay. And I'm not going to get woke. But that is not to be confused with, homophobic, transphobic, anything aphobic. Okay. I am not. So just know that going in. Okay. As for Cinema Shogun, I have no idea what he is or is not. But when I heard this, I already told you my reaction. But I consider myself here's my quick stance on politics and the dirtbags who inhabit Capitol Hill. I am a registered Republican. I do not vote according to the letter that is on my voter ID. I vote for whoever's policies are going to do the best for my family. And if you are of the same mindset that my husband is, my husband maintains that the president himself has zero bearing on your life and what happens in your life. Which is why you should vote policies. I think everybody that inhabits Capitol Hill, all those useless assholes known as politicians, I don't care if you have an R, a D, an I, any of that. That's my stance on it. Okay. So, but I guess I would say when I was young, I was very much a liberal, a social liberal, and I still am a social liberal in many respects. Because despite the fact that I am registered as a Republican, I very much believe in the right for a woman to choose. However, that has limits with me. I believe it should only be permissible in a certain time frame. None of this crazy like partial. No, that I'm repulsed by that. So I guess that's just a little insight into what happens with me. I'm a lot of contradictions in one thing. So I can also say that while I am we are a family that has these, I also believe that there should be some more restrictions on these. My husband is adamantly opposed to that. So that all of that is just to say that I am not, and I would question anyone who is so firmly rooted and identifies with a letter behind their name or on their voter card so much that they're inflexible in other I mean, I don't, there's nothing I can say that I'm completely lockstep 100% in agreement. So there you have it. All right. Well, I guess we're gonna, when does that start? I'm gonna let him just finish up with this part. It's just another, I probably won't do much commentary until he really gets into it in a
Opportunity
moment.
to have a conversation that I've been meaning to have with you all for a long time. But, anyways, these comments were basically saying, why are you talking about stuff like this?
People on YouTube mad at you? Are you kidding me? Gosh, that doesn't sound like our YouTube.
You need to talk about stuff that's more important.
Excuse me? Just a note to anyone who goes to someone's page to tell them what they need to talk about. Yeah, no. Maybe you should just find a place where you're more interested.
And I understand where people are coming from when they say things like that and when they think that way. But let me
And I don't know what it
introduce
is
you
that
or
he's referencing.
open your mind into thinking in a different way. Let me provide you all a reason as to why I think that even when I sit down and make a video about Britney Spears or Gypsy Rose or this actor
And
or
by
this
the way,
actress,
I will tell you that as far as Gypsy Rose, I did hear him speak on, it was one of the last that he did when speaking about her, not long after she got released from jail. And everything he said, for the most part, that was exactly what I was thinking. Bitch, you are not a celebrity, okay? And there is something, and that is a lot of the reason I decided to do this, because to me, this country, we glorify all the wrong things, and we don't put enough value on the things and the people who do the most important jobs. I mean, that's all well and good that, you know, you're take professional athletes that we pay obscene, I shouldn't say we, that their bosses pay obscene amounts of money to catch a ball, kick it through a goalpost, etc. I mean, this is also a debate I've had with my husband many times, and he's explained to me how few people are able to do blah blah blah. And I get it. They're paid so much money because it's the football teams that keep a lot of these schools going. The endowments and whatnot. It's very much due in large part to the athletics programs. So I mean, I get that. All road, follow the money. That's all I can say. Follow the money. But to me, it's a very fucked up proposition when we pay someone millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. I keep saying we. When someone with a very limited skill, that when it gets down to brass tacks, is it important? No, it's not. But we have teachers, firefighters, cops that were in some cases asking to put their lives on the line. And what do they make? 20 bucks an hour, maybe? I mean, that's a problem for me anyway. So when I say Gypsy Rose is not, and I was somebody who I don't have a problem with her being out of prison. I actually don't even know if she should have gone to prison. But let's just say, after seeing how she's behaved, I mean, I got my feelings have changed. And to me, that's what thinking people do. The more information you get to form an opinion, well, at least for me, that's what forms my opinion. And I reserve the right to change my opinion based on information. And while I was very sympathetic to Gypsy Rose, and like I said, I don't even know that just because she's behaved terribly since she's gotten out, I'm not going to say that that makes me retract my thought that I don't think she should have gone to prison. I think she should have been in a mental health facility to deal with what was done to her. But to say that it was disappointing to see how I mean, boy, she got acclimated to social media real quick, didn't she? Yeah, but you know, maybe for the same reasons, I don't know that she should have gone to jail.
In my mind, in my opinion,
but it's false to society. Why? Why are we like by the millions hanging on this girl's every word? I mean, she's done umpteen videos, we get it, or interviews. And I understand that. I understand wanting to hear her speak. But do I give a shit about what her favorite song is or her favorite color? No. So shame on us. We as a society glorify all the wrong shit. I mean, let's take this documentary coming out on Paramount Plus about the tragedy pimps. I personally, I wouldn't watch that shit if it was the last piece of entertainment on the planet. I read books. Books have always been preferable to me over TV. And I think it's sad. It's so irresponsible to take people, several of whom are criminals themselves, former or present, whatever the case may be, and reward them for really shitty bad behavior, for y'all know exactly what I'm not trying to get this into that realm. I'm trying to leave that shit behind. But I'm just saying it speaks to a bigger problem. If you don't agree with that, don't consume it. I will not. I give 0 fucks what Olivia, Jonathan, Betty, whoever, Molly, whoever else is in it. This is how many fucks I have. 0. If people do not support that kind of behavior, then don't support the content. Production companies, well, I mean, they make what people want to see. And I just personally think it is beyond time to stop rewarding really irresponsible and dangerous behavior. And I did hear the lawyer say something I have said many, many times, and that is, it's coming. It is only a matter of time before one of these, listen, let me see. Well, since I gave up my career as a track, no, I don't have it. I was looking for my press pass. It used to be that the price of admission to call yourself a journalist was at least twofold. That would be a degree in journalism, and more importantly, and most importantly, the ability to read, write, and speak in proper, full English sentences. Yeah. Just because you are someone who is not afraid to embarrass yourself, to trample on other people's personal space, to make yourself look like a fool, just because you're willing to do all that and you have a camera, that doesn't make you a member of the media, okay? So I just don't support it. If you don't agree with it, don't support it. And it is a sad commentary on the state of society when we are glorifying. I mean, it's kind of like, and this is all kind of segueing into what he's going to say. Just because I can sit in this chair and call myself any damn thing I want, that doesn't make it so. And just because a whole bunch of us get together and say we are, insert whatever it may be, well, that doesn't mean that you have to believe that or treat us as such. I mean, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like those videos are just as important as the videos that I put out when I'm talking about World War III or some type of crazy thing the government is doing behind closed doors. Because you see, take a look at the world around you. Look at all the problems that we are facing today. A lot of people think that all of the problems that we're facing, they're all caused by politics. A lot of people think that vote.
This is actually, I tell you what, until I heard this, I had not thought about it in this context. And that's why I'm speaking on it. And here's something else. I don't hate anybody. And I think it's very unfortunate that we have gotten to a place where it's not enough to just be respectful of someone. You can call yourself a unicorn. It doesn't mean I have to believe it. But if I don't believe it, does that mean I hate you? No. And there's that seems to get lost. It's like, it's this or it's that. Very few things in life are completely black and white.
Voting this way or voting that way is going to solve all of the problems that we're facing in today's.
They don't solve jack shit. They can't balance a checkbook. The politicians are the only people that seem to think the way to get out of debt is to spend more money and get in more debt. They can't even balance a checkbook. They're not going to solve jack shit.
World. But when you look at these problems, it runs much deeper than politics. We are facing societal issues, cultural issues. And a lot of people have completely abandoned culture. They have completely abandoned pop culture because they think that it's not important.
I tell you what. What the hell? Sorry. I tell you what. I can tell you, for me personally.
But you see,
I've talked about this before. Before I really started getting into the YouTube, I started my day every day with a cup of coffee and TMZ. I was very much one of my favorite podcasts. I was really into podcasts. And one of my favorites was AJ Benza, Fame is a Bitch. AJ Benza was a gossip, celebrity gossip reporter, pop culture for the New York Post. He had a TV series. I always followed all of this pop culture, celebrity gossip, etc. But it has been replaced with YouTube and the social media. And I'm not alone in that. So I don't know, at least for me, it's not that I never thought it was important, but it was entertaining. But with the invention of social media and just how prevalent and prominent it is in all of our lives. And I have way less than most people. I have YouTube, that's it. I don't Instagram anymore. I never did Facebook, Snapchat, none of that shit. Even when you pay a lot of attention, I know I had more than I wanted, and that's why I don't do Instagram anymore. But there's only time for so much. So I never looked at it as, well, it's not important anymore. It was never that important. That was my entertainment. But now we have real life people to entertain us. And the ability to interact live, I think, has made a real difference in people's watching habits.
Culture, pop culture is way more important than politics. We're dealing with something on a
they're a lot more attractive, probably a lot nicer,
more personal people level. We're not dealing with something that can be solved by voting for this guy or voting for that guy. Politics is not going to solve all of the problems. Yes, it may solve some. But when you look at these deep...
My husband and I were speaking about something the other day. Oh, conspiracies. I was like, we were talking about somebody we knew. And I said, well, he kind of leans to the conspiratorial whenever he can. Like, if there's a way for him to bring the government and blame the government, he will, whether the government's got anything to do with it or not. And my husband looked at me and he said, well, that's usually a pretty good place to start. If the government's involved, if there's any way that it can get fucked up, get the government involved in it. And yeah, so.
For issues that we're dealing with in society, when you look at these cultural issues, it runs much deeper. And the way I see it, I feel like a lot of reasonable, sane people, they've abandoned culture. They've abandoned pop culture.
Think about that. I agree. I've always been somebody who reading has always, given the chance, always a book. And I would still say my idea of a perfect vacation, or at least a small vacation, a beach, or just a really nice, relaxing lounge chair with some lovely scenery and maybe a cabana boy with a cocktail, something in a coconut maybe, and a book. But as technology has invaded every aspect of our lives. I think we are, even when you make a conscious effort not to let it invade every aspect of your life. How many people like read magazines, read newspapers, go to movies? Oh, I'll wait for Netflix. I very much think that what I see a lot of validity in what he is saying.
Culture, because they say other things are more important, and you think that, and it seems that way, but culture, pop culture, it's shaping the minds and the lives of individuals all around the world. Culture and pop culture,
and it always has. I mean, think about that. Whatever the generation is, I mean, what was completely scandalous in our parents' generation, you know, I guess for my parents, it would have been like Elvis, I guess. And look, my husband likes to say the pendulum always comes back to the middle. It might swing, you know, far, far, far this way. Eventually it comes back to the middle. I hope that's the case, but I don't know.
Shapes the way people think and the way they view the world much more than politics.
Think about how many people do you know that give a shit or pay attention to politics? You know, obviously when an election, although to me, they never stop campaigning. I mean, we all remember the days when they didn't really start campaigning for president, what, maybe a couple months before the election. And now it just seems like it never stops. And I think we're so overly the 24-hour news cycle. Thanks, Rupert. I think we're so inundated with information that who wants to I had such election and political fatigue after the last election. I was like, I don't give a shit. I do not care. I personally don't believe fucking that feckless senile old bastard is running anything. At least I hope not. Like, I just wanted nothing to do with it. And I'm someone who feels like I'm fairly well informed, at least on the fringes of things. I mean, I can't talk in depth about everything, but I tried to pay attention to everything. But, you know, there's only so many hours in the day that we have to dedicate to taking information in. And I think a lot of us with social media, well, we're taking in things that probably are in large part meaningless.
You see, folks, there's a saying that goes, politics is downstream from culture, not the other way around. Reshaping politics does not reshape culture, but reshaping culture does reshape politics.
I mean, I could make a case for both. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But I had never thought about it before listening to this. So
you see, sane and reasonable people, they left the culture alone because they thought they were focused on more concerning, more important things, not realizing that the culture they abandoned is what was shaping the politics. That's what was shaping the newfound mentality that's going around in a lot of people. Some may even call it, like I like to call it, the woke mind virus. When you look at Blue's Clues and you see them having transgender drag queen parades on Nick Jr. Blue's Clues.
I do not know about that. But here's what I'll say. And I had this debate with a family member who works in the school system. She is not a teacher. She's one of the support staff within the school. She works with kids that have certain needs. She has a master's degree. I did not know until pretty recently, because we never talked political shit, woke shit. I honest to God did not know, because we don't live in the same, geographical area. So we only see each other maybe once a year, maybe once every couple of years at a family thing. We're not great about, it's the birthday, the holidays, the text message. We had the occasion to spend a weekend together just a few months ago. I think some of you might remember, I said I was going down to Sarasota to stay with family. And my goodness, one night after the parents went to sleep, we were sharing a room, and I have always asked her about her kids. She doesn't have any children, but her kids from school, because she's, hi Mandy, how are you? And anyone else who's just coming in, hi Wise Angel. I'm over in the other window. At any rate, I always like to ask her, so tell, do you have any, let's just say that she works in a very bougie school district, and some of the parents are more entertaining than the children. So I always ask her, tell me about how many kids do you have this year, and blah, blah, blah. Well, she said, I've got oh boy, this could be where we go off the rails, folks. Hey Tracy, how are you? She said, I have how did she put it? I believe it was a biological girl that identified as a boy. And I said, come again? Because this is elementary school, okay? And I said, huh? What? I said, what grade? Because I believe her school goes up to 5th grade. And then, 6th, 7th, and 8th in Florida is middle school. I believe it's the same where she is. She's in Illinois. And I said, what? And how's that work? And she gave me a little more information, where she said, I think one of my immediate questions was, did you know, was she always like this? And then of course it was hold on. I said, did you know her when she was identifying as what she is, which is a girl? No, this is her first year in our district. And I said, oh, okay. And wait for it. She said, yeah, her family moved to our school district just so for our school. And I was like, huh? What, from where? And she said, well, I don't know. She didn't know exactly where, but she did know that mom and dad picked up their life and moved however far so this child could go to their school. And I said, why? And she said, well, we're just known for being, how did she put it? She, of course, I didn't say woke, but, and the reason this even came up was because, as I said before, some of the most interesting stories I get from my cousin when I ask in a new school year, it's the parents themselves. I mean, some of them have crazy, like, because she works in like extra special services, kids who need help. I'm not going to say exactly what she does, but you get it. She's not a teacher, but she has a master's degree. She pulls children out of class to work with them however often she needs to, which is dependent on whatever issues they're having. So it came up because the mother had, oh, that's what it was. The mother wanted this child to have, it was the bathroom, but what was it she wanted? Basically, they wanted her own solely designated bathroom for her. And I was like, well, what if I said, how, like, isn't this a slippery slope? We're going down here. What are we going to do? Just build a whole building full of nothing but bathrooms? And she said to me, we have to accommodate that because she is a protected class. And I said, what? Now, let me make one thing really plain. I said, listen, absolutely, I don't care what the child looks like, what the child identifies as. I can barely get that out of my mouth. Every child should be treated with kindness and caring. And we should never tolerate any child being bullied or teased in any way. That obviously needs to be addressed immediately if that happens. But why does that child's rights supersede any other child's? Which that wasn't even what I really was trying to get down to with my cousin. Because she knows about this, I said to her, how old is this little girl? And I think, well, let's see. If you started school at 5, we're talking no older than 10. And I don't remember what grade this child was in. So I said, well, she made a remark to me that I said, what is your, I said, and this is what was really interesting to me. Whoops. My cousin my cousin went to Catholic school her entire life. I promise you, she goes to church to this day. She goes to church every Sunday. Her parents are very religious, etc. And they're in their late 70s, early 80s. She told me that something had just happened in Florida. And I said to her, I can't remember what it was, but I said, well, let me ask you something. Do you think, listen, once someone is 18 years old, or at least in high school, okay, I got a problem with the puberty blocker and all that. Now, if the kid's in high school, that's not what I'm addressing in this situation. This was elementary school. And I said, so tell me, does this child come to school dressed as a boy? Does she look like a boy is basically what I was asking. And she said, yeah, for the most part, or you would just think she was, very much a tomboy. And I said, well, what? And I'm going to say it again. All of this is prefaced and repeatedly me saying, of course, every child should be treated with kindness, no matter what. I do not condone bullying of any child for any reason. Whether you're a boy who wants to be a girl who wants to be a boy, whether you're black, white, pink, green, I don't care. No one, bullying should never be tolerated. I said, what? She said something about, I think I asked her, well, why is the school, I don't remember how we got into this part of the discussion because it was, a lot of stuff like really going fast. But basically, she said to me, starting in the 3rd grade, hey, twin thing, how are you? Starting in the 3rd grade, they, quote, start introducing the concepts of some kids have 2 dads, some kids have 2 moms, some kids have mom and dad, some kids have boys that want to look like girls that want to look like boys. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. Why? Here's my problem. I guess I would, if I had to put myself in a box, I would say libertarian. I don't give a shit what you do in your bedroom. Don't care. Or pretty much anywhere else in your life for that matter. As long as it doesn't impact me, I don't care. I mean, I think things should be legal that are not legal. However, why is your school telling my third grader about some kids have two mommies? Why are that's not your job? That's my job. And it's up to me when and if I want to have that discussion with my child. It is not, see, and this is where you start getting, oh, well, that's not hate. And listen, I'm fully acknowledging that there absolutely are ignorant people who probably do, unfortunately, hate people who don't live like they do, who don't look like they do, who don't think like they do, etc. I can promise you, I know how I was as a mother, how I still am as a mother. Of course, the job's different now because he's an adult on his own, successful. My child was never in trouble with the law. He was a good kid. He was always a good kid. He did what kids do. But I always knew from a very young age he was tenderhearted. So my child, I never had that issue of my child being a bully or being unkind. But I can tell you this, I would never have tolerated it. I didn't tolerate my son talking too much in school. If a teacher ever had to call me, my son knew. Whether he thought he was right, wrong, of course he always thought he was right most of the time, but he knew. I always took the teacher's side, always, even if I didn't think she was right. But I knew how to spin it to make him think that. But he knew the one thing that was non-negotiable, and I was going to check. If a teacher has to reach out to me, when you see that teacher tomorrow, the first thing you are going to do is you are going to apologize for whatever behavior it was that necessitated reaching out to me. So it's got nothing to do with discrimination, prejudice, hate. Absolutely not. Not for me. But I am sitting here saying, I'm sorry, that is not right. It is not the school's job to be teaching, most especially little tiny kids. And when I said, and I said to my cousin, I said, well, y'all teaching them about, traditional mom and dad relationship? Are you introducing sex to them? Or are you telling them what mom and dad do when the door's closed? Well, not until, middle school, health class, whatever it is. So why is any of anyone's family situation at home, why is it being addressed and talked about with these little kids who are not asking? It's not like the kids are coming up and going, oh, why does Johnny have two daddies when, come to the school play? These kids aren't asking that. They don't give a shit. And her answer to me, I guess you figured out by now that I have figured out by now. And I hand to God, I came home and told my husband, I said, holy shit, I had no idea Susan was a fucking flaming lib. And he looked at me and he just started laughing and he said, honey, let's just say she was here for a conference. A national conference having to do with education. Not any kind of social agendas or anything like that. But he just said to me, that didn't clue you in when she started telling you. I was like, we never talk about this shit. But that night, it was just really organic and natural, and it all happened. And I've always asked her about her students and the parents, because she's always lived in a district where sometimes when you get a lot of affluent people, they can get real crazy when it comes to like shit for their kids, things they want. And I've heard all kinds of kooky ass stories. But when I said to her, why are you introducing this to any of our kids? What makes you think it's your job to tell my child about any of this? And she said, and I quote, because the parents don't do it at home, so we have to. No, you don't. No, you don't. And what she kept repeating back to me, she kept saying, Lisa, listen, it's not like when I say we're introducing these concepts, it's not like we send your kids home with a piece of paper that says, we talked about gay sex today. I said, yeah, I got that. I said, I certainly was not presuming that y'all were. I said, but you shouldn't be talking about any of it. Not to anyone's kids. It's not your job. And I maintain that. And yes, Mama Bear, yes. One of my dearest friends, her son is gay. And do you know that they had words? Hi, Wandering Tiptoes. How are you? Oh, that's very sweet. I appreciate that. She said that her son was home for the holidays. They don't live in the same area. And, he's very young. He's out of college, but not too long out of college. And do you know that she got into an argument with him over a lot of this very type of thing? And she said, I looked at him and said, I have no problem with you being gay at all. And she doesn't. Every time he gets a new boyfriend, she says the same thing every time. Oh, yeah. Because I'll say, oh, how's Joe Blow? Who's he dating? And every time she's like, oh, yeah, I really like him. Well, she told him, listen, just because You are gay. I love you. I accept you as you are. But that does not mean that you get to sit in my house and cram this crazy ass agenda, all this whacked out, like off the rails shit down my throat. And I was like, bravo. And I do not equate, what does one have to do with the other? Because let's take Bruce Jenner, or Caitlyn Jenner, formerly Bruce Jenner. Do you know what my husband said? Last we knew, when he had his show, she had her show. My husband said, so let me get this straight. And listen, if I use a term that is not politically correct, I apologize. It is not out of malice. It's just out of, I don't follow this stuff super closely. So I'm not, I may not be completely correct with the vernacular, but there's no disrespect intended. He said, so he kept his junk, got breast implants, had all this surgery and listen, when I saw Caitlyn Jenner on the cover of Vanity Fair, I was like, damn, she looks fantastic. I mean, I was floored how good she looked. Of course, you're talking many, 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 many tens of thousands of dollars in surgeries, and I'm sure very painful. There was a lot done, okay? But, so, is biologically a male because he's got his boy parts. So he's biologically a male, but he lives and dresses as a woman who, last I knew, and when this discussion took place, was dating women. And my husband looked at me and said, so he's a heterosexual man with breast implants who wears a dress. And I said, yeah, basically. Does that mean that I am being any kind of phobic? No. Do I give a rat's ass how Caitlyn Jenner lives, what's under the dress, who she dates, has sex with? Don't give a shit. But you can't. This is part of the problem. Look at what I'm doing. I am taking great pains to say what I want to say in the most respectful way without hurting anyone's feelings, because that's not what I'm looking to do. It truly is not. But if we cannot have these discussions, I mean, that's leading to bigger problems. Because I'm sorry, it is not me having any hate or animosity in my heart or mind when I say children, little tiny children who are in elementary school, you have no business talking to anyone's children. Hey, Catherine. about any other child's parental situation, etc. Romantic relationships that other consenting adults have with one another, not your place, not your business. Our tax dollars should not be paying for that. And to my cousin, I say, well, guess what? If the parents won't do it, then that is that parent's fault. Your job is not to parent our children. Your job is to teach them reading, writing, and arithmetic. That doesn't mean that I hate people. But as I said before, I also do not have to indulge the way everyone identifies. Listen, despite what I may present on YouTube and the way I speak about things, I can assure you, I'm that person. If I saw somebody being hateful and mean to someone else, unprovoked, I'm that person who would look at the person doing it and say, what the fuck is your problem? That's who I am. So I'm not, this is not coming from a place of hate at all. But, you know, there has to be some delineation between someone else's rights and the rights of those who don't view things in that way. We all disagree about all kinds of things. And there's just some things that I don't agree with. And a child, I told my cousin when she was telling me about this child in the school, I said, listen, I have no problem with this little girl who doesn't want to look like all the other little girls. Fine. I don't even care if that little girl, well, let's reverse the situation. I have no problem if that's a boy and he wants to grow his hair to his shoulders or wherever and wear a dress to school. I don't care. I don't have a problem with it. Where my problem comes in is where we want to start telling all the other kids about that child's, parental situation, etc. Hey, Johnson, how are you? I mean, it's a very slippery slope, but I'm here to tell you the slope keeps getting more slippery. And I am not speaking about, transgender, not when I say the slope is getting more slippery, I'm talking about just I just see a lot of, like that video I played the other day with the puppy people. Come again? And I'm sorry, there's never going to be a place where I'm going to see two grown women out in public on their knees, barking like dogs, being walked on a leash by some sick bastard. There is no world in which I'm going to see that and say, oh, honey, look at that cute little Maltese over there. Look at that St. Bernard. No, that ain't happening. But it seems like I don't know. We seem to have come to the place where, and these things are hard to talk about. You see how you can see how I am dancing around. I'm parsing my words and I'm trying to be very careful about what I say because I'm not looking to provoke people. I'm not looking to offend people. But not everybody can do that. Does that mean that we all cannot Yeah, Mandy, I agree it is mentally ill, but the puppy, whatever the hell that thing is called. Oh God. Yeah. I, I really am. I'm just like a live and let live kind of person, but we're yeah, I can tell you that, oh boy, I promise you, if my child was ever in school, I think I said to my cousin, well, where do the rights of one student who is protected, where does that child's right supersede the other children in the class whose parents do not want them to have any idea at all? Is that hate? There's my question. Is it hate if I say, listen, I don't care if Susie is really Johnny, but we don't need to draw any special attention to it. We don't need to have a meeting in the classroom. We don't need to have a presentation to the other children in the classroom and give them knowledge that they don't already possess, because children grow up way too fast as it is. And that's to me, that has no place in elementary school. I was totally blown away. I was just like, what? But okay, fine. And my God, and I used the word indoctrination and she flipped her shit. She said, do not use that word with me. And then I think she threw something in there about, and in your great state, you all are burning books or some shit like that. And I was like, what? What the hell are you talking about? I mean, but listen, not talking about these things, it's not making them go away, okay? So I don't know. Let's let him carry on.
That's because we have abandoned culture. Things like that continue to happen because we abandoned culture. And when you look at modern day comic books,
keeps throwing me. He says culture. I believe he's meaning pop culture. When I hear culture, I think the symphony, a museum, a library, a stage play, a live performance of whatever kind. That's what I think when I hear culture. But I believe he's meaning pop culture.
They're no longer stories about good versus evil. They're no longer stories that teach you values about being a good, heroic person. No, it's softcore gay porn. That's because we abandoned culture.
Okay, now that I'm not sure what he's talking about. I will tell you this. I watched Yes, that is for me. That's absolutely the case. It's not about that because who am I to tell anybody what to do with their kid? No, but on the other side of that coin is you don't have the right to tell me when I have to introduce these concepts to my child, which to me is absolutely not in elementary school. But a couple weeks ago, as I was flipping through my cable, there was I'm a big fan of documentaries. There's a documentary called Walt's Disenchanted Kingdom. And it was some very far right wing commentators, some of whom I recognized, some I had no idea who they were. It was some former Disney executives, over production of, particularly children's programming. When I went into it, I live in the birthplace. Well, actually, California was the birthplace, but Disney World, the happiest place on earth. To which, when my child was young and we would go there, as we were standing in line, I said, I'm going to write a book called There's No Happy Kids at Disney, because it's 2,000 degrees outside. This is back before Fast Pass. You'd have to wait in line. All the kids were crying. When's it going to be our turn? Oh, it was hell. Now, before I watched this, hi, Bob. Hi, how are you? Okay, hold on. Before I watched that documentary, and I recommend it. Even if you don't buy into any of it, or you're like me and you bought into some of it and it made you maybe listen to me. The best you can ever hope for when looking at something, whether you're going in as a skeptic or not, but especially when you're going in as a skeptic, I think it's a wild success if any part of it makes you change, either perhaps change some or one of your thoughts on something, or just make you receptive to it in a different way than you were before you watched it. Because what I would have told you before that documentary, which basically is a lot of very far right leaning, like I said, some corporate executives, some commentators, there was authors, yada, yada, yada. And the premise is basically that Disney got themselves into an area they never should have gone. Kind of like I just told my cousin, y'all don't need to, stay out of this. You do not need to speak to my child about any of that. That's not your place. That's my place. I decide that. Well, Disney did much the same. Disney started getting very political, and it wasn't to the right side of the aisle. It was to the far left side of the aisle. And they asked people in the beginning of the documentary, what do you think? Do you think Disney should just, do what they've always done? Focus on, making content for children and their theme parks, etc., and just fun superheroes and fun Disney shit? Or do you want them to put politics in everything and take a stance on social issues? Well, I'm sure they had answers other than the ones they showed, but everybody they showed, and it was families with children of every shape, size, color, etc. And they all said, yeah, no, just stick to doing Disney. And I agree. But they had these people maintain that Disney, because they're president of the board of directors, or of the park itself, whatever he was the highest dude. He was, when Michael Eisner retired, this was the dude who took his place. And these people maintain that their left-leaning agenda was infiltrating pretty much everything about Disney. Now, what the most far right and conservative were saying was that all of that was done in an effort to get your children on board with I don't think it was just a gay agenda. And I'll tell you, they had employees. I don't think there was any present employees. I think there were people from within many levels of employment at Disney. At least one of which who was himself gay, who said, yes, we all saw it. There was a writer for a children's show, and she said, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, I put queer agenda, she didn't call it propaganda, but any place I could squeeze in, my queer agenda, I did. Now, I'm going to tell you before, because I've heard rumblings about this for quite a while. I don't have little kids that are in any kind of Disney anything anymore, so I don't pay a lot of attention to it. However, that day there wasn't a lot on, so I decided to watch it. I'm going to tell you this. Before I watched it, and at least in equal part since I've watched it, before I said, give me a fucking break. Like, oh my God, calm down, the big, Christian right. Yeah, I'm going to offend everybody today. That's the way I viewed it. Listen, I'm not a conspiracy person. It is very hard to convince me of things like that. I just assumed that's just a bunch of fucking far right wing talking points. And I'm registered Republican. I've already said that. I voted for Donald Trump. I also voted for Obama once. So I don't vote based on that letter behind my name. But in the words of Winston Churchill, if you're not a liberal when you're young, you don't have a heart. If you're not a conservative when you're old, you don't have a brain. And and it does kind of tend to go that way. We do tend to be more liberal on everything when we're younger. And when we're older and we've written all those checks to the government in the form of taxes, so people like Betty and her kind can have all their pretend careers here on YouTube, who don't pay taxes, I'm betting, you're a little more, what's the word? You're a little more hardened to things, disillusioned. So that's what I would have said before I watched it. I went in very skeptical. Like, give me a fucking break. Disney is not doing that. I will tell you, after I watched it, I believe about 50% of what I saw. There were some commentators in there that were so, some of it was just a little too like, shooter on the grassy knoll. I was like, I don't think I believe that. I'm not going to say I think there's a vast Disney conspiracy to turn a bunch of small children to the LGBTQ agenda. No, no, but I did believe the woman who said, yeah, when I had the chance, so I don't even know what did he say that made me stop this? The culture thing. I don't know. I don't. I think we all, as human beings, tend to try and put forth our agenda to some degree. It's just human nature, but I don't call it an agenda. I can tell you right now, I do not have an agenda. It's just how I feel about things. So. All right, back to. Are you guys having fun in the chat? You might be having more fun in the chat than I'm having. I did. I voted for Obama. You know what? Let me tell you what got me about Obama. Well, that was many years ago too. He was and still is a brilliant orator. That is his gift. He unseated Bill Clinton, as far as I'm concerned. Even my husband and my in-laws, who absolutely, my husband thinks Obama policy-wise was, or what he got accomplished, he has absolutely nothing good to say about Obama as a president. However, he will, he said it's undeniable. He is a fantastic speaker, and he very much, he can draw people in, and that's a gift, to be able to make people come your way by your words. So. Well, True Texan, yeah, that's about what my husband said. Hey, Daily Meander, how are you? Hey, Shorty. Oh, that documentary, that Disney documentary, it is called Walt's Disenchanted Kingdom. Okay. Whoops.
We said this isn't important. This is a distraction. And now the crazies, the radicals have creeped in, and they have dominated and they have taken over every form of pop culture, every form of entertainment. So when you look at young kids these days and you don't understand why they think the way they do, it's not because of politics.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if he's speaking from a place of actual like hardcore numbers. Like, is there any hardcore numbers that bear that out? I will say this, and to anyone who lives in the beautiful state of California, I apologize. Just for me personally, if there was a way for us to just, we'll give you notice, like, here's your 20-day notice that forthwith, California, the big one's coming, okay? They called us up. The chairman of the board of natural disasters called and said, hey, the big one is hitting California. So you might want to send a memo out and let them know that this is your 20-day notice. If the big one came, and we could just we could give advance notice, and then, to those who chose to stay, be well. And it just like a like a little cookie cutter, and it just whoop, floated off into the Pacific Ocean, and they could become their own country of California. And then my husband will tell you, yeah, but they're going to need us to fund their country. Like, listen, California, well, I won't say the whole West Coast, but you know, the coast, Oregon, California. Amy, did I say hi? Hi. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. I know JLR is not in this chat. There's got to be somebody else in here that's. Who's JLR? Because he's not in here. He's probably at the damn border somewhere. Okay, I see. Never mind. Gorgeous. California is one of the most physically beautiful I mean, I think it's even nicer than Hawaii, personally, because Hawaii's got rainforest, beaches, mountains. They don't have desert, though. I don't know. I've been to both, and I think California's coast, one of the most beautiful road trips I have ever been on, is the coast of California on US 1. Carmel, San Simeon, spectacular. Which is why it pains me so to know that y'all are like, California's just, it's out there. It really is. It's out there. Find me a more liberal place than Oregon, maybe. But all of those, a lot of those liberal policies are coming home to roost. California's a mess. I mean, the whole country is a mess, but California's a mess. So I don't think it's, the entertainment industry is Hollywood for the most part. California, run by very wealthy, mostly very left-leaning people. So for me, it's not a big leap. It is not a big, hey, AMAC, you don't, AMAC, like I said, Oregon, y'all, beautiful, gorgeous place. Y'all are pretty liberal. It's not a stretch to think that the epicenter of entertainment is there, California. Trust me, it's a very elite few that are influencing and producing what we're consuming. So of course, we're going to see what they want to show us. Hey, real girl, how are you? All right, let's carry on.
It's because of the culture. Look at music. Most of the most popular music in today's world is mumble rap about killing and murdering and robbing people.
He's not wrong.
And there's not enough pushback. There's not enough balance because people abandon.
He's not wrong about that. I don't know what mumble rap is. I think I get it. As far as there's not enough balance, record labels, production companies, entertainment executives produce the content that makes them the most money, which is the most in demand. But I don't think he's wrong. But when my husband and I have had this discussion, he will say, yeah, and when our parents were kids, Elvis was scandalous. Chuck Berry was scandalous. So every generation has their, clutch the pearls. But, what? It's kind of hard to, while I agree with what he's saying, it is hard to, it's kind of like on one hand, it's apples and airplanes. But if we look at it just a few generations back, well, they may not have been talking about, doing drive-bys and, making it rain and drugs and whatnot. But what they were doing and singing about was equally as scandalous at that time. Does that make sense?
Into music. So now all of this music that's promoting this crazy wild lifestyle, that's what's being pushed on your kids 24/7.
I will tell you, when oh God, I'll never forget. How many of you in the chat, tell me if you're a parent, tell me if you ever listened to the dreaded, hated, wait for it, Kids Bop. Oh my God, Mandy, I actually have this. I have this in my email to talk about. That's going to be an episode on itself because I'm really going to fucking go ham on that one. That one, I'm only going to be insulting. And you guys know that when I say listen, it's never my intention to insult people. A lot of times I don't give a shit. Right now, I'm trying very hard not to insult anyone because I promise you, I'm not coming at any of this with any kind of animosity or hate or anything like that. And that's a lot of the problem we have in this society. Everybody is so in their fucking feels about everything that everybody's just waiting to be offended. And then it's like, and it gets built up and then nobody can talk about anything. And then it's this side versus that side. And all that does is just do this. There has to be a place in the middle. So, but yes, I absolutely have that story. This is in my email. And when I saw that, I was like, bitch, I hope you reap what you're sowing here, because you are sowing a field of problems, expensive ones. But yes, the dreaded Kids Bop. What is Kids Bop for those of you who don't know? Well, when my son was young, I didn't want him listening to what I like to listen to. Let me think. What was one of the songs that I loved that I was like, my God, I would never listen to that around Logan? What in the hell? Oh, I wish I could remember. But, think 20 years ago, whatever was popular. And that's when 50 Cent. Everybody in the club. Do you think I wanted my damn 5-year-old singing that? No. And you know how kids are? We never had less than a 30-minute commute to school. We've all had the moment when your little angel lets out a string of expletives in front of the relatives that you only see once every few years. Yes, I did have that happen. I said, I don't know where he learned that. I was getting him buckled up in the back seat of the car in his little car seat. He was about, I don't know, 4 maybe. And you know how you do when relatives are there and you're leaving and everybody walks you out to your car. he's all in his car, and I'm, I get into my seat, and I have one foot still on the driveway while you're turning the air or the heat on, whatever you're doing. Oh yeah, it was so good to see you too. Mom, I forgot my goddamn crayons. I don't know where did you hear that? Where's your dad been taking you? We've all had that moment. So, it was bad enough my son heard me. Not always having the most clean vocabulary. I tried. Yeah. So in an effort to mitigate some of that, I really didn't need him going to Catholic school and singing about everybody in the club. And, I ain't in, how did that go? I'm into having sex. I ain't into making love. I'm like, yeah, no, we don't need, nope, don't need that. So apparently I wasn't alone. And somebody came up with this, oh God, it was called Kids Bop. And it was basically a cleaned up kiddie version of all the top 40 music. Wow, it's just not the same. Oh, I think they're up to Kids Bop, like edition 942. Yeah, Kids Bop's been around for a while. But it is, I don't know. I mean, music, and it's always glorified. It's kind of like an escape. It's where creative people, it's their outlet. So, but I get it. There are definitely songs, and listen, I still listen to some of it. I typically don't listen to much music anymore, when I'm in the car, especially. But I have to say, I wouldn't want to have to. No, it's definitely pretty. It glorifies a lot of things that lifestyles that you don't want to glorify to kids. I would hope that everyone could agree that you never want to have your child emulate, going to jail, drugs and alcohol. No, none of that. So, oh, Jimmy Carter march. How did that guy ever get to be president?
Because people said culture is not important. We need to focus on more important things. So they left the music industry behind. And now music, modern day music about murdering and killing and doing Lord knows what, that's what's shaping the mind of young individuals today.
He's not all wrong. But that goes back to the parents. Okay. It does. There was all this music, maybe not as overt as it is now, really glorifying a lot of the not so good things. But those kinds of things have always existed. That's where the parents have to do their job. I mean, and you cannot, it's very, very difficult to, even, let's see, even 15, 20 years ago, well, let's say 15, it was getting very difficult to, and I was that mother, my son knew, anything in this house is mine. You don't pay that phone bill. And he didn't have a phone until, how old was he when he got a phone? He got a phone a little earlier than he probably would have had, but he would go, I was divorced from his dad, so he would go every other weekend with his father. So, and I wanted to be able to get a hold of him anytime I wanted. So I think he had a phone probably 5th grade. And they were not as sophisticated as they are now. But even when he was in middle school and high school, he knew if it's in this house, it's mine. I own it. I pay for it. There's no such thing as privacy here. Sorry. And if I want to go through your phone, I will go through your phone. If I want to go through your computer, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I ripped the Xbox right out of the wall because he'd be in there, just losing his shit over Xbox. Yes, we had our, how they have the summer of love back in the 60s. We had in my house the summer of Xbox, which was, I think about it was about 8th grade summer going into 9th, because they're in that weird place where they're not little tiny kids anymore, where you have to find them activities to do. They don't have to go to summer camp. That was probably it was either the 7th or the 8th grade was the first year that my son did not have to go to summer camp, because that was a rule in my house. I had to go. I had to go out of state to summer camp. I went like to big girl summer camp. He always had to go at least part of the summer. It would usually be like maybe 9 to 1, something like that. But that's that year where you're old enough to not have to go to summer camp, but you're not old enough to go out and really get into anything because you're not in high school yet and you don't have friends who drive and yada, yada, yada. But so that was the year of the Xbox, the summer of the Xbox, where my husband was like, honey, just listen, it's what he's got right now. Just don't worry about it. Because I swear to you, he would be on that thing so long that he would come out and be dizzy. I was like, oh my God, you've got to get off that thing. But he'd start getting so pissed. It was like Xbox rage. And that door would fly open and I would walk right under that plug and what are you doing? I'm like, what's it look like I'm doing? I told you, if you didn't knock this shit off, if you can't control yourself, I'll take it, because clearly it's upsetting you. After I think I bought 2 headsets. On headset 3, I said, this is it. There will not be another one. Do you know that by the end of the summer, I swear to God, this is a true story, he had that headset held together with Scotch tape and what's the white, like the cream colored tape, masking tape, because that's all we had at the time he broke it. Oh, it was hilarious. Yeah. So sometimes you got to be the parent, and nowadays, oh my God, the technology just keeps. Snapchat was just really getting to be a thing that I knew about. He probably knew about it long before me. I think he must have been in high school. Yeah, probably high school. So I totally recognize that it is a full-time job. Even years ago, it's always a full-time job. But technology has absolutely made it more difficult for us as parents to police our kids. Therefore, lots of parents, because I swear to God, I said to my husband, I don't know how many times, holy shit, this is like a job. This is like another full-time job just to keep on top of the internet and cell phone shit. So I get it. But your kids are worth it. And that has to be, no matter how tired you are, how, what a burden it is, you have to do it, because if you don't, well, they're going to be influenced by everything that's out there.
The same goes for cartoons, comic books, like I said, and movies. When you look at Star Wars, and it's no longer about, the dark side of the Force and the light side of the Force. Now it's about pushing a feminist agenda. Everyone's got to be trans, gay, and lame.
I don't know about that because I don't watch cartoons. I don't read comic books. I do not watch Star Wars. My husband has watched The Mandalorian, I think it's called. Excuse me. I remember seeing Star Wars, the original, in the movie theater when it came out. Okay. Don't talk to me about Star Wars. May the Force be with you. Luke, I am your father. But I will say this. What he's calling an agenda, I can see it from both sides. I can see where people feel like it is an agenda, because think about it. There's very few things that we watch where you won't have someone who's gay, trans. What else did he say? But you know what? I look at it as it's inclusion. That's truly how I look at it. But I can see where someone else looks at it as, why are you jamming this agenda down our throat? Change is always difficult for people, and yes, this is so true. This is absolutely true. Well, and we've always had lazy parents, but I see too many kids. Listen, and this, I'm not exaggerating, and you've seen this. Kids in strollers, little bitty kids with iPads. That's so dangerous. That is so dangerous. There's a fine line. There is a very fine line that gets blurrier and blurrier between technology and using it for educational reasons. To me, our little tiny kids, they grew up just fine all throughout history without an iPad in their hand. And I have family members who they feel the same way, and that's how they've parented their kids, and it shows. So technology is not a bad thing. You just have to see. And now look, you saw my mouth came open. Because to me, I see 5 and I'm like, damn, that's, but I know in today's world, she's probably much later getting to the iPad than many. But I only have, my many moons ago to draw on. But a lot of parents are lazy. And I guess all I could say is, if you choose to be a parent, it is the only job that you cannot fuck up. It's, to me, it's the most important job you can have, besides the one that feeds the most important one. I mean, and if you're not willing to treat it like that, then don't have kids. But so, I can see where some look at it as an agenda. And listen, I could look at it as an agenda, but I choose to look at it as it's inclusion. And let's think about it. How many years ago were people of color? Were we having this discussion? But it was about people of color who didn't feel included. And I promise you, there was certainly people saying, "Oh, well, this is an agenda." It's just how you look at it, I guess.
All of that stuff is happening because we abandoned culture. When you look at Hollywood and you see there's no good movies being made, that's because we abandoned.
He is right about that. I have to say, and I'm not kidding you. Of the last, well, let's face it, I can't remember that far back. We'll say of the last 10 movies that I have, and I always watch the trailer first. I have found in the last 10 movies that I have attempted to watch, maybe 2 I actually watched from start to finish. Movies are atrocious right now. I have found that forget the movie, just watch the trailer. That's the best thing. Now, I have very high hopes for something that we're going to watch this weekend, Ferrari. And that's because my husband is a huge Formula One fan. So, but it actually looks really good. And I want to watch Maestro with Bradley Cooper. Before I forget, because this is pop culture, ladies, I don't know if y'all are aware that my movie husband, Jason Momoa, he has a new TV series out. I had to tell my husband again, honey, I'm just letting you know once again. If he shows up at the door, we're going to have a talk. Jason Momoa has a show on HBO called On the Roam. Now, just to put it out there, I would watch Jason Momoa pick fly shit out of pepper, okay? But this show, even though I think when it went into production, and he is one of the producers along with some friend of his, and the premise is this is a real boy show, a dude show. Jason Momoa he is actually a really cool dude. I just yeah, and he acts in movies. I can't get past he is just fine. Anyway, do you know that born in Hawaii and wait for it, raised in Iowa? That I was shocked. Second thing that shocked me, pink is his favorite color. He wears a ton of pink. He's got a pink Cadillac because his mom was super into Elvis. So he's got a pink Cadillac. He's got a pink, I think it's a Harley. He is a super affectionate dude. But he's a total, he is a man's man. This show, I said to my husband, I think when it went into production, HBO probably was like, oh, you're going to put some of your own money? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, look. The show, look at him. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who the demo is. Women are going to watch this shit. Yeah, like me. I'm watching this show about dudes making knives, building fucking some kind of crazy rare hill climbing Harleys. I've learned more about a 1916 photography. Next, I think he's going to do something somebody who builds guitars. I basically said, the women, we don't give a shit what he's talking about. We're going to watch it, okay? But the pleasant side effect is it really is like dude stuff. There is no girly shit anywhere in here. But yeah, he's like a super, like, so the whole premise of the show is all the things that he is really interested in and likes in his life, his hobbies and whatnot: photography, motorcycles. He likes knives, he likes jewelry, guitars, all of it. Something that he does that's kind of cool is all his movies or TV series, he gets friends of his who are craftsmen. Like one guy the guy that makes knives, he made a lot of the props for C, which is also a good series starring my movie husband. And then the guy who makes jewelry, he wore a lot of the jewelry in Frontier. Was it Frontier maybe? I don't know. But apparently he finds most of these people on Instagram. And then what starts as a business, he says, usually, this is what he said, usually it goes a little something like this. I see some really cool shit on Instagram. I hit him up. I say, hey, this is Jason Momoa. I'm crazy about XYZ. Can you make that for me? But here's the catch. I need it in 6 hours. And of course and yeah, I'll pay whatever. And he says, and they always manage to get it done. And then when I meet them, I mean, it's crazy because I cannot remember the photographer's name, but he's apparently a huge fan of photography. He meets his idol, his photography idol. I mean, he's so into this. He told this dude, he says, when I travel, when I have to leave my home to go film somewhere, I take your pictures with me to hang wherever it is I'm living, so it feels like home. He totally fangirls over this dude through the whole episode. He's hugging him all the time, and it's totally genuine. I mean, hey, he didn't have to convince me. I was already, like I said, fly shit out of pepper. Whatever, dude, I don't care what you're doing, I will watch. But when you see him being, a real person out in the world, meeting people that he admires, he is a cool dude. You can tell it's him. It's not scripted, it's not put on. He's just like a big, huge, like, he likes to hug everybody. I'm like, damn, what could I make and put on Instagram? Oh, maybe I could start making tridents or something. Spears. Okay, but yes, he is right. Movies, oh my God. The state of movies, they suck. They're horrible. Horrible. Best thing about movies are the trailers lately. I'm hoping Ferrari doesn't disappoint.
Culture. We thought that culture wasn't important, but the radicals, the other side, they understood the whole time that culture was important. So they hijacked the culture.
But I think it's always been that way. I don't think it helps when we use terms like them and us. But I'm not going to read anything more. I think he means it that way. I try not to do that because just those little words can be very divisive.
And they're in control of the culture now. And we're just now realizing how important culture was. And we're fighting to regain a grasp on the culture. But it's almost too late because some people from our own side are pushing back on us, telling us it's not important. It's not important because they forgot the number one rule.
But it's social media. In my opinion, it is social media that, quite ironically, while social media and the whole idea behind it was to bring us all together. I've always found that shit. When Facebook came out, I was like, fuck that. I do not have any interest in my third grade boyfriend's next door neighbor's cousin's best friend hitting me up. Hey, do you remember? No, No, no. People in my past, if I don't talk to you now, well, that's where I would like you to stay. And so I was always creeped out by it. I have all the friends I want, thank you. Um, so while the very thing that was supposed to bring us together, it has made us far apart. Think about it. We don't know our neighbors. I don't. In all the years I've lived here, if my very life depended on it, I couldn't pick them out of a lineup or tell you their names. And that's sad. That's not how I grew up. If you've ever got some time on your hands and you want to read something from a brilliant person, mentally ill and incredibly misguided, but brilliant nonetheless, that would be Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, who I have said many, 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 many times. He saw all this coming, and he was not wrong.
That politics is downstream from culture. It's not the other way around. It never has been, it never will be. When you look at all the problems in today's world, especially here in America, these are cultural problems within our society. It's not going to be solved by voting this way or voting that way. We have to change the minds. We have to change the way people live a little bit. We have to reinstill value of human life. We have to reinstill the American dream. We have to reinstill certain values in people's minds again, because they have lost those values, because culture and entertainment is what taught them these values, and we're no longer teaching them these values in culture and entertainment.
I agree with a lot of that. I don't agree with, I wouldn't put it the way he puts it. But I very much agree with the premise that a lot of children are growing up without the values that even one generation ago, our generation, grew up with. But he is right when he says no politician is going to change that. There is also no dancing queen with machetes that's going to cure that either. I don't necessarily believe that pop culture is the answer to all of this. It goes back, to me, it always goes back to the family and the parents. Whatever that looks like, whatever their family looks like. I don't think that good values and decency and some morals, I don't think it has a color. I don't think it has a gender. I don't think it identifies one way or the other. And that to me is where the problem lies and where the answer lies, all at the same time.
So now they're being indoctrinated by a bunch of wild stuff. That's why you can't look at children's books anymore. They're no longer about learning numbers and Dr. Seuss, big foot, little foot, left foot, right foot. No, it's, hey, you could be a boy or a girl. Let's teach you all of this weird gender ideology stuff. Let's teach you about.
He's not all the way wrong. But I think I've spoken ad nauseum on that. I don't think we need to shame any child ever for, feeling different than what the outside may look like. It's not about that. But that goes back to the parents. That is not something. To me, it all goes back to the family and the parents. And if you teach your kids to be decent, well, hopefully they will be. I mean, of course, there's always going to be the anomaly, but
sex when you're in kindergarten.
Yeah,
That's because we abandoned the culture. We even abandoned.
I would fucking come unglued. Let me tell you something. I would come unglued. I mean, it's sad to say, but I can tell you that the public schools, I think, are a mess. And I think they're a mess because, well, in part, teachers next to, first responders have one of the most important jobs there are, and we pay them shit. They're not valued in society like they should be, not in my opinion. I went to public school. I mean, at some point I went away to school. I went to a boarding school for a while. But for most of my younger years, I was in public school. My son never went to public school. And I struggled to make that happen, but it was important to me because, and it wasn't even, I mean, it sounds terrible to say, but it wasn't even, I'm not even going to say it was in equal parts because of the education. No, it was, I didn't want. And I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but in Florida is not known for its great, well, they're getting better, but they can get away with a lot. Teachers and administrators have to put up with a lot from disruptive kids and kids that you wouldn't necessarily want your kids around. It's not like that in private school. If your kid cannot behave and conduct themselves within the rules, then goodbye. They put up with no shit, and that's what I wanted. So it was, I mean, if I had to put a percentage on it, because, believe it or not, private schools, at least here, and in my experience, they're really best suited educationally for the kids right in the middle. Like, if you've got a kid that's incredibly bright or special needs, private schools really, believe it or not, public schools are there. There's many more resources available in the public school system than private for those situations. So for me, it was, I mean, if I had to put a number on it, a percentage, I'd say it was 60% environment and social reasons I wanted him in private school, as opposed to, the educational reasons. So now, I mean, I cannot even tell you what I would do if my child came home in elementary school and said they were learning. I mean, some of the things that my husband showed me that came out of schools in this country, public schools, I was like, no fucking way. And he's like, no, it did. And it came from wherever, whatever, commentary. Sorry, I'm with Ms. Jen. Hello, paper clipped. Yes, absolutely. I did. I was paying for public and private because yes, everybody's property taxes go to the schools as they should. But here in Florida, I can tell you that, from having family and friends in the North or even, Midwest, Florida public schools are a whole different ballgame. And they've never been great. They're probably getting better, but oh, there was something else. Oh, and I can tell you that here in Florida, where a very large part of the population is old, they don't want to pay for any, like whenever there's a millage rate on the bat, and uptake. Oh God, I've been talking so long. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. What do they call those? Like an amendment or more money into property taxes that they then designate, so much for this, so much for that. Well, because such a large part of the population is elderly, they don't want to put any more money than they absolutely already are into the public school system. Oh my God, the Villages, Jesus. Okay, Bob, I promise I'm coming. The Villages isn't the only one. We have another one, not as raunchy though. This one doesn't have the raunchy reputation, but look up Sun City. That's also a Del Webb community, like the Villages is. For anybody who doesn't know, the Villages is like, well, it's where the elderly go to keep on partying. It's oh yeah, just be from what I understand, let's just say, well, if you're into like let's just say I guess your kinks do not they stay the same age. They don't get elderly. They stay apparently the same and active, and they all meet at the Village. Oh yes, we definitely I don't know. The whole entitlement, like getting shit from the government, I don't get it. I've never gotten a damn thing from the government. No, I have to give to the government. And I don't have any problem helping people who need it. Absolutely not. But I definitely absolutely resent 1 penny of any taxpayer's money benefiting someone who is not a citizen of this country. That I have a problem with. Oh, yes. I've got his video pulled up, so give me 1 minute. We did it in the beginning. We should have done it again though, but I will do it right now. All right, there's his link. There you go. And that is the link to this video that I've been talking about. And I do want to finish this because he does, I very much think I share a lot of his thoughts on many things. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily, but I think he's quite a bit younger than me too. So I will say things differently than he does. And I don't agree with every single thing he said, but a lot I do. Do I have the answers? No. I mean, aside from the things I've said, I like symmetry. Besides what I've been saying for 3 hours and 15 minutes, no, I don't have any besides common sense things. But in closing, I think I would say that I think whether we agree with someone's lifestyle or a lot of these social issues or not, Well, welcome, Nene. I hope you come back. My there I don't have sticker bushes, so oh Mandy, listen, come back, Mandy, this weekend. I promise I'm doing a makeup episode. I think I'm gonna call it I bought it so you don't have to. Uh and I'm gonna tell you some dupes for some things. I'm not gonna put makeup on while we're on camera because left is right, right is left. And trust and believe it's all I can do to sit in that chair and figure out which side of my head I'm on when I try and do that. Putting on makeup, that would be hilarious. I would have it like in the back of my head. But I am going to bring in a bunch of my favorite, and I'm going to tell you what's good for the money. I'm going to tell you what's overpriced for the money. But that is L'Oreal Glotion. I use fake tanner on my face, but then it's L'Oreal Glotion. It comes in like I think 5 colors, and it's tinted moisturizer, and that's it. But I think it is hard to have these discussions because people get so well. You saw me dance. Oh, you use it. Okay. You saw me dancing all over the place. But I think we should try to be respectful and it does take thought. Listen, it takes thought to get your point across without offending a whole bunch of people if that's not your goal. And that is never my goal. Trust me, when that's my goal, I don't pussyfoot around it. I will just come out and tell you you're a bag of shit. And there you go, simple and easy. If I'm not looking to do that, yes, it is in a tube. When I'm not looking to do that, somebody's always going to be mad, but that's never my intention. I don't hate anybody. I don't want anybody to ever be mean to someone because they look different than them. They think different than them. Look, my cousin and I walked away friends, and I'm not kidding you. We could not have been more further apart. And all my life, I had no idea that she's so like flaming liberal. Trust me. All right, Bob, I promise. All right, y'all, kids, I gotta go. Pussycats, I'm gonna leave you with this was sitting next to me the whole time. I wanted to show it to you. I moved my bag of unicorns and rainbow, big old lollipop bouquet, and breakfast and lunch, and possibly dinner if I don't get the dog out. Tomorrow, what's tomorrow, Friday? I may come in tomorrow. We'll see. But I'll be here over the weekend. We shall reconvene soon. And you guys have a good night. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Be nice. And until we meet again, bye, pussycats. All right, Bob.